Check, check, check. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Volleyball Hall of Fame 2017 banquet dinner and ceremony. I'm Kevin Barnett. I'll be back in a little while, but right now if you take your seats and enjoy your dinner, we will feed you before entertaining you. And the live stream starts at 7 o'clock tonight, so if you want to text out to your family or friends, make sure they go to volleyhall.org, Volleyhall, H-A-L-L, and they can stream tonight's ceremony wherever they are. So tweet that out, do whatever you want with it. We'll see you at 7 o'clock.
Oregon was inducted as the first inductee, and so began the journey. As of today, there are 130 inductees from 22 countries. And by the time we finish tonight, that number will be 135 from 23 countries around the world. So we're very honored to have you with us tonight. We hope that you'll enjoy your time listening to the stories. They're all unique in their own right, very interesting, many times very moving as the inductees step on the stage, and this becomes a very real moment for them. So we want to recognize briefly some of the organizations and people that have helped to make this possible. We're going to do it a little differently to save the clapping time, because we do love to clap, but we want to save as much of our clapping as possible for our inductees tonight. So here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to first recognize our sponsors and our partners. If I call your company name, or if I call your name and you're here as a representative, we just stand, please remain standing, and after we finish this particular category, we will recognize all of them at the same time. So first, the City of Holyoke, Spalding, a presenting sponsor for tonight, USA Volleyball, he's here. The regions of USA Volleyball, we have both New England and Florida, please stand. Holyoke Gas and Electric, Cargill and the Big Y, Dowd Agencies, the mayor's reception sponsor, Mizuno USA, Shelby Foyer and Mary Shadoin, Den Brothers, PSI 91, Holyoke Prince, our photographer, he'll be standing all night, Boston Sports Institutes, Sports Engine, SpikeNet, Homewood Suites, I believe Rachel Flahive is here. So if you will join me in a round of applause for all of these great partners to the Volleyball Hall of Fame. Thank you. And following that same model, we're going to recognize some special acknowledgments of individuals that are here tonight. First, the commissioner from the New England region of USA Volleyball, the host region for the International Volleyball Hall of Fame, Dave Peck Soto. From the Florida region of USA Volleyball, staff members Braden Causey and Chris Hamilton. Yes, Chris, you have to stand. Special guests joining us tonight, that the recipients and the winners of the International Volleyball Hall of Fame VIP experience from Jacksonville, Florida, Rob and Mary Holly. The CEO of USA Volleyball, Jamie Davis. The president of the Dutch Volleyball Federation, Peter Sprenger. There he is. The past presidents of the Haitian Federation, Guy Waseem and Bernard No, and the current president from Haiti, Margaret Graham. Please recognize all of these folks. Thank you. Once again, our past Hall of Fame award winners. We'll start with Annette Medallion of Merit from 2013. Once again, please stand and remain standing. Alex Stetnitsky. From 2007, Bill Collimore. From 2009, Fran Hamill. From 2013, Joel Deering. From 2014, Rob Slavin. From 2016, Doug Beal. Our previous Mintonette Award winners. Congratulations. I'm not going to let Doug stay sitting too long. Next, we'll recognize our former inductees that have honored us with their presence tonight. A 1989 Hall of Fame inductee from the United States, Doug Beal. A 1994 inductee from the United States, Marv Dunphy. A A 2001 inductee from the United States, Karch Kirai. And a 2014 inductee from the Netherlands, Joep Alberta. Thank you all for joining us. And finally, we'd like to ask all of our board members, honorary members, and advisory members for the International Volleyball Hall of Fame, please all stand at once so that we can recognize you and your outstanding service to this institution. I think at this time, we're going to invite Doug Beal to come up to the stage and present our Mintonet Medallion winners for 2017. Please welcome Doug Beal.
It's not often I get to lower the mic. So you come here often enough, you get to stand up and down repeatedly. Welcome. So some of the comments are going to be repeats for some of you that maybe made it earlier today or yesterday at the mayor's reception, but I think kind of important. This is just a wonderful event, I think, for our sport. To memorialize and recognize broadly the history of our sport gives us credibility, makes us think deeply, I think, and broadly about the meaning of our sport, the history of our sport, and the traditions of our sport. I applaud all of you for the years, in many cases, of work here to grow the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. It is significant to so many of us. Let me start by recognizing those inductees and honored members here who passed away during the previous year. And some pretty unique people. Recently we lost Mike Bright, a 1993 inductee, and I'm going to take a little longer than I think Steve was anticipating, and I apologize for that, but I think it's important for lots of you to at least hear a line or two about these individuals. Mike was a two-time Olympic game participant and a three-time Olympian for the United States, and just recently passed away. And everybody has lots of interesting things, I think, in their life, but Mike not only represented the United States twice in the Olympic Games in '64 and '68, but he also participated as a very young man in the 1956 Olympic Games. I think he was 17, in paddleboarding and surfing. Mike Bright. Next, we lost Bernie Holtzman this year. Bernie was a 2006 inductee who played mostly in the 1950s and 60s. You all remember that. Bernie was, not too long ago, honored by USA Volleyball at a 75th anniversary celebration. I think he wore a mismatched shirt with a tie and a jacket and kept everybody laughing. He had one of the most remarkable senses of humor. He played both beach and indoor in an era when we described setters with these, I don't know, beautiful hands and just an incredible player. And I think he was about 5'6". So he'd be coaching in today's world. The next one was Joseph Musil, who was from, when he was inducted from Czechoslovakia, but maybe the Czech Republic in 2004. Joseph was the captain, I think, of the Czechoslovakian team that competed in 1968. 3 Olympic Games, 2 World Championships, a remarkable performer again during some early years of our sport. Yuri Poyarkiv passed away this year, a 2008 inductee who played for the Soviet Union but was inducted from Ukraine. I'm doing a lot of this from memory, fans. Hang in there. 1964 Olympics, 1968 Olympics, 2 gold medals, several world championships, Yuri Poyarkov. And especially 2 incorporators of the Volleyball Hall of Fame. Bob Grenier passed away just recently, and John O'Donnell. And we have 2 daughters of John's here, I think, Lori and Debbie. Where are you? Lori and Debbie, yeah, over there. I have to tell this story about John. He used to call our office at USA Volleyball every month or 2 to make sure I was staying on task and wasn't screwing up his sport for him too badly. And he would always ask whoever answered the phone, "This is John O'Donnell from the birthplace of volleyball. Do you know where that is?" Occasionally they did, but after that they for sure did. So maybe just join me for a second in a brief moment of silence for those 6 individuals who passed away this year. Thank you. I'm going to go right into some very special awards that we have this year. The Mintonette Medallion of Merit Award is given for lifetime achievement in our sport. And I doubt that we have ever had 2 more deserving recipients than we have tonight. I've been fortunate and blessed to have spent significant time with both of them, and I'd like to talk about the first one for a minute or 2 first. Unfortunately, Dr. Horst Baki couldn't join us here. He is, I think, 93 or 94 and doesn't travel, lives in near Leipzig, Germany. Horst has spent his life coaching and training volleyball players, for most of it in the old DDR, East Germany. He coached their national team, and he trained almost every subsequent coach of the national team of DDR. And he developed one of the strongest systems in the world that led to a world championship for DDR in 1970, a silver medal at the Olympic Games in 1972. When he phased out of coaching, he became the director and creator of the coaching program that was administered all over the world by the FIVB. He wrote the manuals, he trained the instructors, he put together the process that exists still to this day, and I suspect that he personally was in more than 75 countries instructing in the sport that he loved. He was the president of the FIVB Coaches Commission for longer than anybody can remember. and it was a great pleasure of mine to serve with him. He wrote the manuals that are still being used today to train instructors and coaches within the FIVB. He was passionate about the sport. He is passionate about the sport. I spoke to him about a week ago. He misses being able to travel very much. And I have to tell you this story, and there are lots of them about Horst. Some years ago when he was able to travel, he and his wife came to the United States, and we arranged, first time, only time that he visited the United States. And we were able to rent an RV for him. He had no idea what an RV was. I'm not sure he actually drove in DDR, but we sent him off on a 2.5 or 3 week trip, I forget, around the United States. So not only was he passionate about volleyball, he was a passionate advocate for his country, East Germany, and their way of life and their political system. A little bit less after he got back from that trip around the United States. It was interesting to see that moderation, I guess, in his perspective. So the first winner of the Mintonet Medallion of Merit, Dr. Horst Backe from Germany. The second recipient is thankfully with us, and it's more than a pleasure for me to introduce and speak to this gentleman. Jacques Waseem has been involved in our sport since the FIV began, and probably before that, so longer than 70 years. He has been close to and engaged with every president of our international federation, from Paul Lebeau to Dr. Ari Grassa currently. Jacques was the first president of the Haitian Volleyball Federation, which started in 1965, and was one of the founding members of the Norseka Confederation, one of the 5 zones that the world is divided into of the FIVB. He is one of a very few recipients for his dedication and commitment to the sport, who the FIVB has honored with the Silver Cross Award. It acknowledges long service and accomplishment unique to our sport. It's been a pleasure for me to serve with Jacques inside the Norseka Commission and at the FIVB, and I relate this story with admiration and respect. There are very few people that, in my experience, have the kind of respect that Jacques has, so that every time he was asked or chose to speak on an issue, the room fell quiet and people actually listened to what he had to say. He is a remarkable advocate for the sport that has done as much for his country and his zone as anyone I know throughout the world. He is a dear friend, and I am delighted to tell you that he has here, I don't know, 25 of his admirers and family members, sons, daughters, nieces, nephews. Anyway, very little has given me as much pleasure as introducing to you my friend and Mintonet Medallion winner, Jacques Waseem.
On avance. Corinne.
I think actually Jacques speaks
French.
25 or 30 languages.
Yes.
Okay, and he actually speaks quite good in English, but he's going to speak in French, and his granddaughter is going to translate.
Vas-y, papi, à vie. Voilà le micro, donc je n'ai qu'à parler devant ça.
Ok. Tiens pour moi.
Ok, voilà. Ok, tu veux que je lise pour toi? Je peux lire pour toi?
Oui.
Okay, so I'm gonna do one paragraph in French and one in English because is not feeling too well to speak today. I'm so sorry. He wants to be there, so I'm gonna do one paragraph in French and then I'm gonna translate it in English if that's fine with everyone. Sure. Good? Okay. Honorables membres du comité électoral de l'International Volleyball Hall of Fame, distingués invités, chers parents et amis, honorable member of the Electoral Committee of the International Volleyball Hall of Fame, distinguished guests, dear friends and family. Bonsoir. C'est avec une très grande joie que j'ai été informée de mon élection à l'unanimité au temple de la renommée du volleyball international. Je tiens encore une fois à remercier les prestigieux membres du comité électoral pour ce grand honneur. Actually, do I need both? It's with great joy that I was informed of my unanimous election to the Volleyball Hall of Fame, International Volleyball Hall of Fame. I would like to thank the prestigious member of the Electoral Committee for this great honor. En ce moment, je ne peux m'empêcher de penser aux grandes personnalités qui ont dirigé la Fédération internationale de volleyball. Right now, I can't help but think about this great personality who led the International Volleyball Federation. D'abord, Monsieur Paul Libaud, le fondateur et premier président, et Madame Micheline Canaf, la première secrétaire générale, qui devinrent des amis sincères de la Fédération haïtienne de volleyball nouvellement créée. First, Mr. Paul Libaud, the founder and first president, and Mrs. Micheline Canaf, the first general secretary, who became trusted friends of the Haitian Federation of Volleyball newly created. Le Dr. Ruben Acosta Hernandez, qui a pris le relais comme second président de la Fédération internationale de volleyball, a réalisé un travail de titan pour propulser le volleyball en Haïti avec la collaboration de la très distinguée et inoubliable Malou de la Fuente. So, hold on. Dr. Ruben Acosta Hernandez, who followed as the second president of FIVB, realized a titanic's work in order to fast-track volleyball in Haiti with the collaboration of the distinguished and unforgettable Malou de la Fuente. Ils ont grandement aidé au volleyball haïtien dans son cheminement vers le progrès. They have greatly helped the Haitian volleyball in its progression. Après Acosta, nous avons eu l'honneur de travailler avec le sage de Pékin, l'inoubliable Jinson Wei, avec qui nous avons de très bons rapports. After Acosta, we had the honor to work with the wise of Beijing, the unforgettable Jinsong Wei, with whom we had very good working relationship, with whom we worked on the ground before he became the president of the FIVB. Puis ce fut au tour du distingué Harry Garça Filo, cet honorable Brésilien qui se fit le devoir d'aider à donner un nouvel élan à ce sport avec un immense plaisir. Then it was the turn to the distinguished Ari Garcia Filho, this honorable Brazilian, who made its duty to give a new impetus to this sport, this with tremendous pleasure. Je tiens à souligner qu'Haïti est membre fondateur de la NORCECA et j'en profite pour saluer le dynamisme de son actuel président, Cristobal Marte de Jesus, qui déploie beaucoup d'efforts pour faire avancer le volleyball dans cette région. I would like to point out that Haiti is a founding member of the NORCECA, and I'm taking advantage to salute the dynamism of its current president, Cristobal Marte de Jesus, who deployed lots of effort to advance volleyball in this region. Mon amour pour le volleyball a commencé dans mon enfance. Depuis l'âge de 8 ans, j'avais choisi de pratiquer ce sport passionnant. My love of volleyball started since my childhood. Since l'âge of 8, I chose to practice this sport with passion. Tout au long de mon cheminement, je me suis fait beaucoup d'amis, tant au niveau des athlètes qu'au niveau des dirigeants, autant dans mon pays qu'au niveau international. During my personal journey, I made many friends, lots of friends, among the athletes and among the leaders, in my country and at the international level. Je suis devenu un pèlerin de ce sport, devenu pour moi une passion de plus en plus intense. I became a pilgrim of this sport that became for me a passion more and more intense. Les écoles étaient la pépinière des futurs volleyeurs et plusieurs se sont fait une renommée. The schools were the nursery for future volleyball players, and many made a name for themselves. On organisait des tournois réguliers chez nos voisins de la République dominicaine. We organized regularly with our regular tournament with our neighbors in the Dominican Republic. Haïti a participé également à des tournois au Mexique et en Europe, en France, en Allemagne, en Belgique, en Hollande, en Italie, dans les Caraïbes, en Amérique du Sud, au Canada et aux États-Unis. Haiti also organized tournaments in Mexico, in France, in Germany, in Belgium, in the Netherlands, in Italy, in the Caribbean, in South America, in Canada, and in the United States. Aujourd'hui, à ce carrefour, c'est pour moi un devoir impérieux de remercier tous les présidents de la FIVB qui m'ont pris en grande affection pour m'aider à gravir les échelons, les membres du conseil d'administration de la Fédération internationale de volleyball que j'ai côtoyé pendant plus de 25 ans, tous les membres de la structure globale de la FIVB, depuis les athlètes jusqu'aux dirigeants des fédérations nationales à travers le monde, qui à chaque occasion m'ont accordé leur confiance en votant pour moi. Today, at this crosswalk, it's for me a pressing duty to thank all the past presidents of the FIVB who have showered me with their affection to help me climb the ladders. The board of directors of the International Federation of Volleyball, whom I rubbed shoulder with, but during more than 25 years, all the members of the global structure of the FIVB, from the athletes until the leaders of the National Federation throughout the world. At each occasion, they granted me their trust by voting for me. Le travail accompli au sein du volleyball dans mon pays n'aurait pas été possible sans l'aide de collaborateurs et d'amis dévoués, des institutions militaires, de généreux promoteurs, de parents d'institutions scolaires et universitaires qui se sont engagés à mes côtés en me confiant leurs enfants pour que ce sport se développe en Haïti et pour que nos joueurs soient de taille pour se mesurer à des équipes de haut niveau dans les compétitions internationales. Je les remercie de leur confiance. This work couldn't have been accomplished in volleyball in my country wouldn't have been possible without devoted collaborators and friends, the military institution, generous promoter, parents of school and universities, who committed themselves along me by entrusting me their children in order for this sport to develop in Haiti and in order for our athlete to be up to compete with high caliber team in international competition. I thank them for their trust. Mes remerciements vont également à la presse haïtienne, à la presse internationale, aux ambassades des pays qui ont aidé le volleyball haïtien, particulièrement les ambassades d'Allemagne, du Mexique et du Taïwan. My thank you go also to the Haitian press, the international press, the embassy of countries that have helped Haitian volleyball, particularly the embassy of Germany, Mexico, and Taiwan. Le sport représente un lien social important et un espace d'échange entre les peuples. Sport represents an important social link and a space to exchange among peoples. J'ai travaillé à développer le volleyball en Haïti et dans le monde et j'en suis fière. I have worked to develop volleyball in Haiti and throughout the world, and I'm proud of this. J'encourage les jeunes dirigeants et joueurs à continuer le travail pour le bien commun. I'm encouraging the young, the leaders, and the athletes to continue the work for the common good. Merci à tous ceux qui sont venus m'accompagner, les parents, les amis, les membres de la Fédération haïtienne de volleyball, et merci également à ceux qui aimeraient être avec moi aujourd'hui, mais qui sont empêchés. Un grand merci à tous. Thank you to all those who are here to escort me, parents, friends, members of the Haitian Federation of Volleyball, and thank you also to all those who would love to be with me today but couldn't make it. A great thank you to all of you. My pleasure. Attends-moi. Mouah. Mouah. Félicitations, Papi. Grandparent. Oh, little, yeah, the youngest.
Yeah. I just one other just kind of I just hope you appreciate the effort that Jacques and his family made to get here. I think it's the first time he's traveled outside of Haiti in quite a few years. So again, Jacques Waseem, Mintonette Medallion winner. Where? Steve? Where? Okay.
So we're just going to turn this way.
Okay.
And Doug, if you'll, you can stay right there. And Doug, if you'll come here.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a photo with the award here?
Yeah, right here.
If you can.
Sit.
Wait, stop.
Right there.
Attends une minute pour la photo. Oops, sorry. Sorry.
come back. I introduced the video. You come back with him, I think. You can hang out here if you want. Very good. All right. Congratulations to both those winners. Now on to our class of 2017. There are different ways for you to be included and honored in the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. We will have a couple of players, a coach, as well as a leader. And we'll start with the leader, president of the FIVB during a very important time, Jizong Wei. Let's learn more about Mr. Wei.
Jizong Wei, China, leader. Jizong Wei of China became the third president of the FIVB after the 31st FIVB World Congress in Dubai in 2008, following Dr. Ruben Acosta's presidency of 24 years. Wei ushered in a new era of development for the FIVB, with specific concentration made to support national federations and confederations in their activities and the growth of volleyball around the world. Wei discovered volleyball at the age of 16 when he represented his school team in competitions in his home city. 2 years later, his passion for volleyball only increased when he was admitted to Nanjing University, one of the most prestigious universities in China. Wei joined the university volleyball team and divided his time between studying French and volleyball. After receiving his degree in 1958, Wei made a crucial decision to abandon his field of study and take up sports full-time. He worked for the Ministry of Sport for many years as the Secretary General of the China Olympic Committee and later the Vice President of the committee. In 1982, Wei began working at the FIVB as a member of the FIVB Legal Commission. In 1984, he was selected to be the Legal Commission President. Wei was active in the FIVB as an FIVB Board of Administration member from 1986 to 2008. Executive Committee member from 1996 to 2008, including serving as First Executive Vice President from 2002 to 2008, and continues to work on behalf of the FIVB as FIVB Honorary Life President. To better promote publicity and marketing for Asian volleyball, Wei was entrusted and elected as the chairman of the Asian Volleyball Confederation Marketing Committee in 1997, and at the ABC 14th General Assembly held in 2001 in Bangkok, Thailand, Wei was elected AVC president, a position he held until 2008. Wei served as the Deputy Secretary General of the Chinese Volleyball Association, experiencing 5 consecutive years of gold medals at the World Cup, Olympic Games, and World Championships with a dominant Chinese women's national team. Besides his duties with FIVB and AVC, Wei was also Secretary General of the Chinese Olympic Committee, President of the Chinese Taekwondo Association, and an executive board member of the Olympic Council of Asia. For his lifelong passion and leadership toward the growth of volleyball, we welcome Jizong Wei in the category of leader as a 2017 inductee to the International Volleyball Hall of Fame.
Mr. Wei was unable to be with us here tonight, but with more on him, Mr. Beal.
Hard to get rid of me. Just kidding. Yeah, Jizong Wei is incredibly active to this day, and unfortunately there's an Asian Confederation meeting that conflicted, and it was impossible because of his position there for him to attend. I'm sad about this. Some of you might remember that Mr. Wei did come to Holyoke a couple of years ago when he was president of FIVB. So I have a couple quick comments about President Wei. If you stay, I don't know, current with some of the news, you know that within the International Olympic Committee and the International Sports Federation world, there is a very heightened interest in ethics in sport, good governance, transparency, democratic operations, et cetera, whatever all those things might mean. At a time when the International Volleyball Federation was not in the most welcome position within that world, particularly with the IOC. Jizong Wei was selected to be the first president in almost 30 years in a new position. He did several things that were quite revolutionary and ahead of the time, and certainly ahead of even the IOC right now. He established some standards for good governance and transparency and democratic operation that was, at the time, and perhaps even today, still quite unique within the International Federation family of sport organizations. He reestablished a very positive relationship with the IOC and put volleyball on the path toward elevating the sport to the highest level in the Olympic family of sports. And then he did something, I think, even more remarkable. He voluntarily chose to be a one-term president. That's almost unheard of in the International Sport Federation family. He is a remarkable leader of long time tenure and still, as I said, quite active, and the current honorary president of the International Volleyball Federation. So it's really quite a pleasure for me to welcome Jizong Wei into the Volleyball Hall of Fame. Okay.
Excellent. Congratulations to Mr. Wei. On to our four inductees who are here this evening. Our next, if you were with us this afternoon, you learned that it wasn't always easy for her. She always had to move forward and never think about the past, going through Russia, Croatia, Brazil, Italy. I hope you've enjoyed taking a look back over the last few days and sharing that with your family. Irina Korova, let's learn more about her career.
Irina Korova, Russia, indoor player. One of the world's best setters in the 1980s and 1990s, Irina Korova had golden hands in the golden age of the Soviet women's national team. Korova was introduced to volleyball at age 11 by one of her neighborhood friends. At age 14, she moved 2,000 miles from her home in Tula to Ekaterinburg, where she was trained at Urolochka Sverdlovsk under 2009 International Volleyball Hall of Fame coach, the legendary Nikolai Karpol. Korova quickly found success with her Urolochka club team, winning 7 national championships in 1981, 82, 83, 86, 87, 89, and 1990, propelling her career with the Soviet women's national team on volleyball's grandest stage, the Olympic Games. She helped lead the Soviet women to a stunning 3-0 straight-set defeat of China in the semifinals of the 1988 Seoul Olympics, followed by an incredible 5-set comeback win over Peru to secure the Olympic gold medal and her spot in history. In other major events, Korova was named MVP of the 1990 FIVB World Championship in China, in which the Soviet Union took home the gold medal. After the 1988 Seoul Olympics, Korova retired from the Soviet team and in 1990 began competing for Mladost Zagreb in Croatia, helping the team to a championship title in 1991. She would later go on to get her Croatian citizenship and competed for the Croatian women's national team, helping the team to a 4th-place finish at the 1995 FIVB World Cup. Korilova's illustrious career included, in addition to the 1988 Olympic gold medal, 27 different trophies with the numerous professional clubs she has played for in Russia, Croatia, Brazil, and Italy. But volleyball has influenced more than just Korilova's professional life. In 1998, she met her husband, Italian coach Giovanni Caprara, while she played for Bergamo in Italy. She followed in her husband's coaching footsteps, serving as his assistant coach when he was at the helm of the Russian team that won gold at the 2006 FIVB World Championship. Korova was later named head coach of the Croatia women's national team in 2011. We celebrate Irina Korilova's outstanding and dominant career as one of the best setters in the history of the sport, by welcoming and recognizing her as a 2017 inductee to the International Volleyball Hall of Fame.
Joining Irina is Jupp Alberto.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'd like to thank the community of Holyoke for the immense improvement every year I notice when I return to this warm Hall of Fame. It's not only a pleasure to me, it's also feeling more or less as a welcome home, being recognized as a former inductee. And I have the pleasure to introduce this remarkable woman. And you probably think why I should do that. Well, I'm a men's coach, so I am one of the few objective people who can judge a female player. I see you agree. She was one of the best setters, and probably the best setter in the world we've ever experienced. And she started, as was noticed already, in Sverdlovsk, and she had a remarkable coach. And I had the privilege to share a lunch with her this afternoon in which she said something we probably would not have known before. At least I wasn't aware of it. She said, Mr. Karpol, a Hall of Fame member, insisted on combining study and sports because a human being is not only in the sporting life, but is also, after the sporting life, a human being who had a contribution for the world. She was successful in Russia. They mentioned all the golden medals. Golden Olympics, golden World Championships twice, golden European Championships. And after the fall of the wall, she started to play in Croatia, started to play in different countries. So she was a remarkable setter all over the world, which made her very special. She had 2 more victories. She found a husband, and she had the last golden medal, which is called Nika. And when she had that golden medal, she decided definitely to retire for good. Otherwise, Irina Korova would still have been a setter active today. Irina Korova.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's very emotional to hear these beautiful words about myself. It's very emotional to be here tonight. In this moment, I feel very happy, very honored and proud at the same time. When my federation informed me about my induction in International Volleyball Hall of Fame, I thought, wow. I make a really big deal. Well, I played volleyball for many years, 35 to be precise. And when I learned about my induction, first I thought about my parents, especially my father. Maybe because he's not with us anymore. He was also a volleyball player. And sorry. And my mother, who probably isn't sleeping in this moment, like always in all important moment in my life and my career. I want to thank them first of the tall, who always stood by my side, who always supported me even when I was 1,000 miles away, when I won, when I lost, who always encouraged me in any moments. I would like to thank you all of my teammates, my coaches, staff, my friends, and my fans who shared with me all moments of my career. I have to thank even my injuries, because that make me stronger and I think better person. But I have to thank myself too, because I've never ever given up in face all difficulties. Volleyball gave it to me very good opportunity to play around the world, to meet many interesting people, to get to know different cultures, to meet my husband, I have my daughter. And being here tonight, it's mean for me what I have done something very important in my life. And I want to thank you, all of you, for sharing with me this amazing and this special day in my life. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Irina. I'm not sure how many of you in here have seen the movie The Unforgiven, or Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. If you haven't, I'll remind you a little bit. Eastwood plays the main character, William Money, killer of women and children, and a bad man. And in the end, he's just killed Little Bill. And there's a reporter there asking him, Mr. Beauchamp asking him, as a writer asking him about the order in which he took out all the men in the bar. And his comment is, I was lucky in the order. And he goes on to explain what happened. I was lucky in my order joining the sport of volleyball late in 1992. I had the opportunity first to play for Ken Stanley, who many of you may not know, but you should. And my next coach, my next two coaches, actually my next three coaches are all in this room. I played for Marv Dunphy at Pepperdine, who is a Hall of Famer. I played for Doug Beal, who is a Hall of Famer. And I played for our next inductee, who's about to be a Hall of Famer, Anders Christensen. I was lucky in the order. At 23 years old, you don't necessarily have the perspective and the understanding of where you stand and the people you stand with. I played for him for 1 year, but he left an incredible impression and made it more difficult for every coach I had after overseas to live up to what I had with him during my first season. Let's learn more about the career of Anders Christensen.
Anders Christensen, Sweden, coach. The Swedish men's national volleyball team of the 1980s was one of the best in Europe, and indeed the world. At the helm was Swedish coaching legend Anders Christensen. Even in his early years of coaching, Christensen always had a sense of the system of training and coaching style necessary to be successful on the volleyball world stage. Christensen was inspired by the Japanese teams and thought if he could combine the Japanese style of quick tempo offense and relentless pursuit defense with Russia's ability to employ power, the Czech smartness, and American tactics, he could create a top-level team. He brought this coaching style to his club teams and the Swedish men's national team. The result was 26 national championship titles in Sweden between 1972 and 1988 while coaching the Sollentuna VK women's club team and Ledingo SK men's club team. Christensen coached in Italy's Serie A1 from 1988 through 1991 for Bologna and Sicily Treviso before leading Belgium's Noliko Masek to 15 national championship and cup titles and 3 European Championship League's Final Fours, including 2 trips to the finals. Following his term in Belgium, Christensen won 3 national championship titles with Greece's Iraklis Thessaloniki and Olympiakos Piraeus. From 2010 through 2013, Christensen coached the Swedish national beach volleyball team, helping them qualify for the World and European Championship over that period. Perhaps Christensen's most memorable impact in Sweden, though, was leading the Swedish men's national team to a 7th place finish at the 1988 Seoul Olympics and to silver at the 1989 European Championships, the nation's best ever performance at a major world international tournament. The team's run at the 1989 European Championships included an incredible semifinal defeat of the powerhouse Soviet Union, a team that won the previous 11 European Championships. For his efforts, Christensen was awarded the Best Sport Coach in Sweden in 1986 and received the King of Sweden's Medal of the 8th Size in 1989. In 2013, Christensen was named head coach of Toyota Gosei Fuerza in Japan's V Premier League, becoming one of the first foreign coaches ever in Japanese volleyball. Christensen's impact was immediately felt, leading Toyota to a national championship and National and Emperor's Cup titles. While Christensen continues to coach the Toyota team, you can still find him training aspiring beach volleyball athletes in Sweden, Portugal, and the United States through his company Beach Travels, along with partners David Cabrera, Rasmus Johnson, and Matthias Magnusson. For his ability to get the most out of his players and for taking the Swedish men's national team to unprecedented success, we welcome Anders Christensen in the coach category as a 2017 inductee to the International Volleyball Hall of Fame.
And with Anders, Marv Dunphy.
Good evening. Kevin, I'm proud of you in every way. Thanks for doing what you do. In the mid-'80s, I was pretty lucky to coach a good group of volleyball athletes, and my job was not to mess it up. And so just prior to the '88 Olympics, U.S. is invited to play in a tournament called the Mondo Volley in Italy. And we go there. We're one of the favorites with the Soviet Union. And another team that was there was Sweden. They had just beaten Italy 3 straight in Olympic qualifier in Florence. And we draw Sweden. And it's win and you stay, lose and you go home. So we're playing this Swedish team. We're pretty good. Karlskrona is pretty good. We're pretty good. And all of a sudden, we're playing against this team that is very well coached. I don't know too much about them. They're very well coached. And they had this opposite player. I don't know his name. Maybe you can tell us. We couldn't stop him. Karch would yell at Craig, block his line. Or Craig would yell at Karch, dig him. And we couldn't stop him. And I remember saying this, and I don't know if I said it to Karch, but I said it to a couple of guys. So we end up losing in 4, right? We couldn't stop this guy. But in the 4th set, I told our guys, they were in control. We don't mind losing, but they were in control. And I said, you know what? We're 1 sprained ankle away from winning this game and this match. We didn't. But we were smart enough. They were going to be in the Olympic Games. We invited them to Southern California to play a few matches. And if you've ever been to Bakersfield, there's 2 things in the summer. There's oil wells and there's 115-degree heat. And so this left the opposite after the first set. Somehow we won that. Again, they battled, well coached. He had ice pack on, I think, his neck, his face, and his head, and we win the match. And I'll just say this. He, in his country, was the first of the new. It's easy to go after somebody else has started something, as I know. Doug Beal started something great in the United States, and again, my job was not to mess that up. But he was the first of the new. And Kevin, I don't know how much time I have up here, but I want to say he was a great, and is a great coach, Anders Christensen.
Thank you so much, Marv. great introduction. And thank you, Kevin. Maybe the consolation is that you made this lefty opposite. His name is Björne. He got a stress fracture playing against USA so hard. So we didn't do so well in the Olympics afterward. Dear friends, volleyball friends, distinguished guests. 4 months ago, I was on the beach in Sweden in the midst of 500 of our clients, players that we are managing with Beach Travels, our company that was just mentioned, and my two friends that are here. Probably the most long-haired guys we have seen here tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't keep it up until the 50s, because on my 50th birthday, there was a nice guy. His name was Kevin Barnett. He shaved my hair and it never came back. But thank you, Kevin, to help us win another title in Belgium. And you were lucky, the order of the coach you had, I think, so if you had started with me, maybe your career had been nothing. You never know. In the midst of these 500 players in Sweden, there came lightning from a clear sky. Doesn't happen so often, but it did. What a surprise. I should be inducted to the International Volleyball Hall of Fame. Me. I had to go to Google, look it up. Who's there? It was an illustrious group, all famous coaches, famous people from big countries, winning gold medals at Olympic Games, and then me. I'm really deeply honored that this organization have been thinking of me. I'm so grateful for the players, the person I work with, staff, and other persons in the organization, the different ones that I touched. I counted fast this afternoon. I think it's about close to 1,000 players. Thank you, players, staff, the organization, those who voted me into this. So, we'll see how fast I can be. There are many people up here that can speak for a long time. I can also. So here my story. My story, I think, is a story against all odds. And it's not, I think it's not easy speaking over yourself and talk about myself and what I did in my career, because most people tend not to talk too much about all the matches they lose, so they try to talk about things they won, and I will do the same. 1965, I started to play volleyball because it was cold outside, and there was one place we could go inside and pretend that you play volleyball. There were some Estonian immigrants that came after the World War, and they had been playing by themselves. And in our community, they had 2 hours or 1.5 hours once a week in that indoor facility where athletes from track and field were supposed to practice on a rubber floor. So I started with a couple of other guys there. We started, and I got a little bit hooked. We played with a brown ball made in Hungary. I think the brand was Artex or something, Artex, something like this. When somebody set behind, it was a big sensation, so almost the play stopped when somebody was setting behind. That was big sensation. Underhand passing was not invented yet. So you understand, I've been around for a long, long time. But for some reason, I cannot recall, but I was curious about this. There must be much more to this than this little bit older gentleman playing this game. In Sweden, there was no role models, no Swedish players, and so on, but I decided to check it out, and me and my fellows, we started playing. So we just made a team of 6 persons together, and after a couple of years, we started winning Swedish junior championships and so on, and we were started. The hunger just grew bigger. The dedication was there. You could say it was all in from about 1968, 69. I went all in. And I had, as a player, but I had more ambition. So I had already in those years, or maybe 1 year back, I had started a youth program that developed later until the, I think, early 80s in my club. So we were 1,200 members, 1,200 members, and I think 95% of them were playing, mostly youth players. And that was a big step, because when I started, there was no volleyball in Sweden. The federation was founded a couple of years before, but I think there was 6 clubs or something. And I have started a women team in the 3rd division 2 years before. But then came the summer of '69. I will try not to sing, but it's a song called The Summer of '69. That was the year, the summer of me changing to the big rivals. I was based in Stockholm, near to Stockholm, but the other side of Stockholm was another team, which was formed of young guys. And they wanted me there. And they had started to practice hard. What we thought was practice hard and much and so on, also some physical training and so on. So I went there. At the same time, my ex-club was in the highest league in Sweden, and competing with them. So it was a little bit struggling with people that thought I was a traitor going to play there. But I still kept on playing and coaching my women team and the youth program. So this kind of settled things pretty cool. So soon, after 2 years in that club, I experienced that players can make revolutions. There were some players that managed to kick out a Czech coach that we had. That was actually a good friend, I think, or he was speaking very good about Musil, that Doug Beal talked about earlier today. So without having a plan, so what to do? So they pointed at me. I had to take over. I think I maybe was 24, 25 years old or something, to be player coach for a team that was supposed to win. And to make it fast, we won. And so I was coaching 2 teams, contemporary, in the Swedish league. And we practiced every night, all amateurs, so we had to practice at night. But they gave me a fast car, and I exceeded every speed limits about the double. So I could make it practicing or giving training to 2 teams a night. Everything is possible. You can't always get what you want, but if you try hard, you get what you need. It's a Rolling Stones song. So I went on like that, and winning, like the film was saying, 26 championships. It was easier when you're coaching 2 teams at the same time. You're winning more titles. So it ended about 26. Actually, when we started winning, also with the women and with the men, we never lost. Never lost. Championship, we lost maybe some match. So again, Stones, one started, never stop, start me up, and I'm there. I was inspired when I started by the little volleyball, the few glimpses that you could see on television in Sweden. For the rest, no chance to see anything in the media or things like that. I mean, Sweden is probably the poorest volleyball country, or was, almost is, on earth. We have other fortunes, but volleyball-wise, it's hard times. But we had got a film, 16mm film, you know, that going like this. But it was expensive. The federation had bought that, and we could only look at it on special occasions. Otherwise, it will be worn out, so you couldn't see it anymore. But this was inspiration. slowly, small steps, having small views out of Europe, but at that time, East European countries were dominating so heavily, and you couldn't get any information from them. It's impossible to go there to learn something, impossible. But my interest for what was going on overseas was growing. And 1974, I think it was, Japan came to Sweden. How that happened, I still don't recall. But they come to Sweden on an exhibition tour, and they went to many other countries in Europe. They were Olympic champions, 1972. And I could make my debut in the national team as a player. And we lost 15-0, 15-0, 15-1. But I made some good connection with Mr. Matsudaira and Mr. Toyoda. I was always traveling with them. He was also working for the FIVB. And I kind of got a scholarship and the permission to come and visit Japan, and this happened in the summer of '76. So I went there by myself, 1976, sleeping on different floors in Japanese club teams or company teams, like it's organized there, and tried to pick up as much as I could, and tried to be critical, and came back with a blend of things that I wanted to do. The bag was full. I had so many ideas what to do. One of them was to start coaching tall men. I thought I could find tall men in Sweden, tall boys, and try to blend that with kind of Japanese women technique from defense and ball handling on those stuff. So I was determined to do that. Yeah, the things went on like this in Sweden, and in the 80s, some things were losing up. Platonov came with Soviet Union to practice in Finland and fishing and stuff like that. I took my car and my tent and I put it up in the woods and 500 yards away and sneaking in to see what they were doing. And a little bit, some years later, I became good friends with Platonov also, and we were laughing at this incident. Same time, Western Europe started to pick up in the middle of the 80s, so we could play but West Europe could play with some of the East European countries. And back home, we started to lift weight and do physical training and stuff, and combine it with the impulse of new techniques, trying to understand the game better and better. So in 1982, the federation thought I was raped to take over the national men's team, or I think I decided I'd take it over. I was doing juniors a couple of years before, and I had the women's team before, so I think I was always the youngest coach, always in the league, internationally, everywhere. Now I'm always the oldest. Things are changing. Anyway, to not make it too long, 82 I take over the national team, and I put there most of the guys I had in the junior national team that have 1 year before qualified for the European Championship for juniors, for 12 teams. It's not so easy to qualify for that in Europe. Big competition. Sweden have never qualified after, and not before. With these guys, with new impulse, much technical training put into a tactical form, we started to make some steps. Building program, trying to find out location, what can we do, and so on. We started really training for real. And the federation was located in a really small city, a community, I don't know, maybe 1,000, 2,000 inhabitants there. And they rented a house, a villa. This villa had an attic on top that nobody used. So I found out that there was a perfect floor that just fit 12 mattresses So we could put 12 players side by side by side so they could sleep. They just need to sleep, eat, and practice. We practiced in the gym that where the ceiling was maybe not double this height, but 50% higher than this. But it didn't bother us. Everything under my philosophy that I had this time, and I think I had the misfortune to always come across, that is, make more out of less. Make more out of less. No money, no history, no resources, less time than anybody else. But if you handle it good, you can make more out of less. I make more out of every dollar than my competitors. I try to make more out of every minute than my competitors. I try to make more out of every player than anyone else could do. It's a struggle. It's possible. I try to lead by example. I was head coach, assistant coach, manager, physiotherapist, physical coach. I don't know, whatever was possible to do. And sometimes one or two guys come helping by for a few days, but that's how it began. And it was already in '82, was not better than this. Anyway, we managed to raise money enough to go to European qualification '83. That was not a given that you should try to go to the qualification, but only 12 teams. And Europe was, I don't know, 30 teams, 32 teams, and many of them really professional. We failed at the first attempt, '83. We were pretty close, so we were encouraged. '84 was the Olympics in USA, and I got even more inspired seeing the group of dog and reading about their background. And I thought it was pretty similar to mine. A little bit better circumstances, but pretty similar. It was not that he was selecting from 2,000 athletes that everybody wanted to be on the national team. It was a small group that you have to form and give quality and melt together into a winning formula. So I was really encouraged by that. I was here in LA looking at it. Coming back, tried even harder. And 1985, Sweden qualified for the first time to the European Championship. I don't remember, we finished 7th, I think, then in the end from the 12 teams. But this was a big success. We understood that we actually could do something. Was not good enough to qualify for the World Championship '86. So we invented another way, thinking patron, like we were starting to collecting scalps, like the Indians. Collecting scalp was yelled every day. And we had started to be a little bit respected, so everybody wanted to play us to prepare for the World Championships. So we had a great summer playing everybody. In that summer, things turned for the better, and we beat every East European country there was, except Soviet Union, because we never played them. But Romania, Bulgaria, DDR, Czechoslovakia, Romania, you name it, we won them all. And our chest was getting bigger and bigger. We knew we had something going on. We also could beat the better West European teams there, France or Holland, Greece maybe had a good team, I think, this year, or whoever. Italy, I don't remember if we played them actually, so I don't dare to say that we beat them. 87, we qualified again the year after. We qualified for the Europeans, and we came to the semi-final, where we lost by nothing. But we lost the semi-final, but we were in semi-final and played really great volleyball that nobody else played like we were doing. It was a pity you couldn't see 5 minutes more from that film, and you would understand the way of playing. It was a combination of European, Asian, and I think some good thinking. '88 was that Olympic qualification in Italy that Marv told about. We were winning to beat Italy in Italy. It was a round robin last day, both teams undefeated, and we just crushed them 3-0. Meanwhile, I have sent 2 guys to play in Italy. The 2 outside hitters, Gustafsson, that is very well known, I think. He is a very charismatic player, and another guy called Nilsson that nobody remembers, but he was almost just as good. Less charismatic though, but more regular maybe. We won to Italy, so we had the Olympic tickets. There was only one. Later on, Italy could play an extra qualification match because of Cuba was boycotting. So they came eventually also to Seoul. And a few days later, then we played the match that Mar was talking about. That's it from there, and then from that year, from '88, yeah, we finished 7 in Seoul, and like I told Mar the other day, we were far too unexperienced to travel so much and go everywhere. We were in USA, we were in Soviet Union, we were everywhere to prepare for the Olympic Games, and we have never been in such big circumstances before, and situation was almost the same. It was me and some few guys helping out, but the team was just tremendous and took care of a lot of responsibility themselves. Then came '88, '89, where everybody remember and think that we played only volleyball in Sweden in 1989, but I try here to tell you that it was something building up over the 4 or 5 years before, and that was the European Championship, where we ended a 23-year-long winning streak from Soviet Union. They haven't lost in Europeans in 23 years, 11 championships in a row. And we won that memorable match, played in the big Globe Arena of Stockholm, the biggest arena in Sweden, in front of 12,000 spectators, and that was a record for that arena. Only to lose to Italy in the final, and there started the era of Italy. After that, they won so many Europeans and World Championship, but not Olympics. We continue over '90, we qualified to the World Championship for the first time in Brazil. I come there with my 2 outside hitters, just operated, having about 3 weeks of preparation for that game. So it didn't go so well, but we were 2-0 up, and I don't know how much I think we had match ball against Brazil at home in Maracanã. If we had won that match, we were directly in the quarterfinal, and maybe we had a fantastic finish, but it was not to be. In 1991 and '93, we qualified again for the European Championship. So with a total new team, all the stars have stopped, and I managed to put a new team together that qualified for Europeans 2 times, and for the World Championship '94 also, but no big success, but we qualified. And those time Europeans were 12 teams, and World Championship was 16 teams, not easy. And then it was over with me and the national team and working for the federation. From the national team, I have already started to try to play for professional club teams in Europe. So already '88, after the Olympics, I went to Italy. Too bad prepared, I think, when you come directly from the Olympics and you have 2 weeks and you start in a new country, you cannot speak the language, nothing. It was not easy, and the team has lost all these players from the previous season, so it was much work. So I was in Bologna and in Treviso for 3 years. But then I, again, found my destiny to start to build again, make more out of less. I came to Belgium after a long time persuasion from them that I should come. The problem there was not so much the money. It was not much money, but no players. And the team said, well, we are amateur, but we want to turn professional, so that was my task. And I tried to start up with young players, and not only Belgium, but also from the countries around in Europe, and later come Kevin and some Brazilian and some other Americans, Mike Seeley, Mike Dahl, and later Rich Lamborn was there, together with other good players from that is coming. Most of these was coming young. The problem was not to teach them volleyball. The problem was that after 2 years they left for Italy. So I think I was there totally 13 years, and I think I exported between 20 to 30 players to highest league in Italy. We couldn't compete with the money. We could compete with our methods, though, I think, with our concepts. All in all, there I managed to win 15 times the national championship or cup. One time against Ron Zwerver that we were really proud of. Although Ron had his best days before in Italy, but that was still a big battle. But most of all, I'm proud that in maybe the toughest league to play, it's not Italy, but it's the European Champions League. And with this little team from Noliko Mazeikiu in Belgium, with the lowest budget of every participating teams, we managed to go to 3 Final Fours and make the final 2 times, and beating all the teams from Russia and many times the Italians and French or what have you. I think quite an accomplishment for a little team. Then I spent 3 years in Greece, a very special country to do sports in. There you play with the police and military with machine guns guarding you on the way to the match and out, and you have to have a helmet to coach there. But it's really interesting. But after 3 years and 3 titles, I had it there, and I thought, I have seen it all. I heard all the presidents saying, yeah, but this year we want to win, and please try to help us to win the title and all this. I had 22 years living in a suitcase. I thought it was time to settle down, go back to Sweden. I did, but no. Some friends call and say, you have to help these guys on the beach, so they want to go to the championships, if possible, go to the Olympics. So I worked 3 years from 2010 to 13 with them. And we came to the Europeans and the Worlds, but we missed the Olympics. So, and finally, call again, Japan calling, was closing the circle. Japan had been the inspiration. I've been there with the national team winning. Now they wanted me to take over a company team, and I did. So I'm still there on my 5th year. I came to a team that has been 55 years working, and most of the time in the highest league for 8 teams. Never played a semi-final. Now the last 3 years, we have never been worse than 3rd, and we have also managed to win 3 prizes, and we won the national championship. Thank you so much for the recognition. Also, without having Olympic gold medals, somebody was recognized my impossible journey after 45 years of serving of volleyball against all odds. But it happened, and the journey is still on. Not for so long, but I'm still there. And thank you for listening, and thank you for welcoming me here to Holyfield and to be inducted in the Hall of Fame.
We're going to go in front of your banner, right over there.
Congratulations, Anders. Yeah, that night in the Majestic, I can't picture Doug Beal letting me shave his head while he sat on a bar. I don't think that would ever happen. But that's what happened with Anders. You look powerful, Anders, like a Viking. Just remember that. It was a move forward. There are a lot of intersections in life, and much like the movie Cloud Atlas, if you've seen it, or maybe a good Seinfeld episode, there are often intersections in this sport of volleyball. Anders mentioned the year that competed against Ron Zwerver in his final professional season. That was my first professional season. But I had seen Ron before, and I 2 years ago when I saw Ron for the first time in a long time, of course, I shared my success with him. But I had seen him a few years before that he doesn't know about. The summer of '95, before the Olympic Games, you toured the United States, and you were playing the national team. I was playing in the B team, and we came to watch in a big high school gym in San Diego. And I thought at the time I was a pretty good jump server. I was proud of what I could do. But then I saw what a jump server could really do. Ron Zwerver blasted the best passer, Bob Stavertlich, that the United States had to offer. Blasted him right off the court. And I thought, wow, there's somebody who can do something. It was inspiring. It was something that I took forward in my career, and I thank Ron for that. It was a pleasure to watch him do what he was doing, being the best in the world at that point, just before they would go to win the Olympic Games and deny Italy one more time. Let's learn more about Ron Zwerver.
Ronald Zwerver, Netherlands, indoor player. Considered one of the best volleyball players in Dutch history, Ronald Zwerver represented the Netherlands in 3 consecutive Olympics. Zwerver made his Olympic debut at the 1988 Seoul Olympics, where his team finished 5th. He and his team followed that performance by winning the silver medal at the Barcelona Olympics in 1992. He then helped his team to the much-coveted gold medal at the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta by defeating longtime rival Italy with a remarkable 5-set marathon in the finals, one of the great matches in Olympic volleyball history. In 1996, he also helped lead the Netherlands to the FIVB World League title in Rotterdam, shortly before the Atlanta Games. Zwerver was named the best attacker in 2 World Championships, 1990 and 1994, as well as the World League in 1990 and 1991. He was also named the best server at the 1992 Olympics, the 1991 World League, and the 1993 European Championships. After playing in 463 matches for the Dutch national team, as well as 6 seasons in Italy and 1 in Belgium, Zwerver retired from playing in 1999 and turned to coaching. Zwerver spent 10 years as an assistant coach and head coach internationally from 2006 to 2016. He was an assistant coach with the Dutch men's national team for the European Championships in Bulgaria, as well as an assistant coach for the women's national team and its trip to the World Championships in Italy and the Olympic Qualification tournament in 2012. He served as head coach of Ortek Nasalanda, a Dutch club that was national champions in 2007. Zwerver currently serves as the assistant coach at Oregon State University in the United States, a position he has held since 2016. Following a storied international career with 3 Olympic Games appearances as one of the top attackers in the world, we are proud to induct Ronald Zwerver into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame as an indoor player.
With Ron, Jupp Alberta, and Peter Springer.
Marv started his saying by great Anders Christensen. And I congratulate on this behalf all the members and inductees of the class of 2017. I am proud to introduce another great man, and this is no fake news, great historic player and human being, as a person, as an all-time Olympian, considered in the Netherlands and internationally. I met Ron Zwerver in 1982 when he was a young guy, and a few things struck me from the beginning until this very evening. Ron Zwerver has ambition, perseverance, an absolute loyalty, and he has a family. And he was brought to the training center where we selected the players by his father, a few months later by his girlfriend, who's now his wife, and by his father and mother. And they are present today in the same way they were together in 1982. And that is special. That means there are bonds, there are ties which are so strong, even elite sport can strengthen them. Ron Zwerver is a player who hangs on to his dream. And sometimes you see a lot of players changing as soon as money is involved. But Ron Zwerver took in his career not the money for granted, but the dream as the starting point and a finishing point, and money is a byproduct of ambition. And that made him extremely special when a lot of teammates made another choice, and he changed the concept of playing in the Netherlands and even the sport. He, in his last hit against Italy, our 10-year-long opponent, was a moment which was celebrated in the Netherlands as the sports moment of the 20th century. He was probably personally responsible not only for the last hit, but that the team stayed together, that the team stayed more or less like a family, and that the team wanted to achieve something which was for a small country practically impossible. And probably his achievement is even greater than great, because it's not the sportive role model he is. He was the role model for the next development of sports in the Netherlands. As a sports model of someone who was outspoken, one of the first time I want to win a gold medal. And I hang on to my dream until I finish. I don't know if I will achieve it, but I'm going to do my utmost. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud, as a former coach, to introduce you to Ron Zwerver.
Okay, well, thanks, Jacques. Nice words, a lot of words. I'm also very grateful to be here in this city and being part of the class of 2017. Also, everybody is, congratulations, it's wonderful. If you see the names on in the museum, that's well, if you be part of it, and now I'm standing now on the podium and talking to you. That's awesome. That's awesome. I feel proud. This is an historic place, and that means a lot for me. Sure, also for all the Hall of Famers who are inducted or here, and. Well, because I'm here, because I'm accelerating a team, and that's the beautiful of this team, because you cannot accelerate by my own. Well, it's nice words about what Joop was saying, but you do it still with a lot of players. I think in the till we won the gold medal, I think we had at most 35 people or something in the selection. 30, and that's a lot, and you learn a lot from them. So I will thank first of all the players. That's important for me, because there I get the energy and the pain, but also the success and the failures and whatever it is. It was incredible. I will thank the coaches and all the circumstances that sponsors were creating at that time for us, being part of the national team. That's for me important. The other one was inspiration. Inspiration, I think first of all by coaches. I think coaches, because coaches give me, I don't know, I was young, I was 15, 16 years old when I was playing in a junior team. And then I met Ari Salinger. And that guy, he was small, I don't know, he was 5'2" or something, what is it in America? But he had this kind of gym shoes, right, from Mizuno, with these kind of shoes on it, because he wants to be tall, but he doesn't need that. But if he was in the gym, he could inspire me, and I think he did that. He did that together with his son, little son, the setter, Avital. That was, I think, most important. Also, the other coaches like Goedkoop and also Joop Alberdaal was one of them. But he was a different kind of coach. Salinger was a tough guy. It's black or white, right? So if you say you go to that door, you go through that door. And when I met, well, we met already a long time before because he was my junior coach. But then he stepped into my life when I was already playing internationally. So, and he was not coaching internationally. So I think, what the hell is he doing for me? So, but he gives me a lot of freedom to make my own decisions. So also that kind of transition of a player to give them more responsibility, that is very important, and I see that also now in my life as a coach, to give players more responsibility. I think later on also, when I started my coaching career, I met a person, it's Koos Klein, he's a Dutch guy, not very known here in the international world, but he taught me. I was a talented player, right? So I had very fun when I see talented girls and boys to train with them. But he said, "Go with me." And I went to him to a clinic. There were some boys, some girls who didn't play volleyball. I said, what can we do with them? And he showed me a way to give the girls and the boys fun. And at the end of the day, you saw they play actually a little bit of volleyball. So he teach me a lot of nice things what you can do with kids who doesn't even play volleyball. So that was an important inspiration for me, very important. And of course, through the inspiration of my life, I built my life. I built my family. And I want to thank I'm lucky surrounding support with people, and what Joop already told me about family. So first of all, my dad here is here. He introduced me to the game, so that was incredible. And not, of course, only my dad, but also my mom. But she couldn't be here because she's a little bit afraid of flying, so she's at home. But, well, thank you about introducing to the game. And that was awesome. I was a little kid of 8 years old or something, and hitting through the wall when he was playing by his own club. And I'm grateful for that, and that's also why he's here. He's proud that I'm proud. Okay, family. It's really emotional, right? Yeah. Shoot. I want to thank also, my father, also my brother and my sisters, because when we are sitting on the eating table, we couldn't speak every time about volleyball because, well, I have also a sister and brother not so good at volleyball. So my father and mother managed it gratefully to spoke also with other subjects on the table. So that was incredible. I want to thank also, about coaches, also medical staff. I had a great medical staff because I want to hit every time. Well, you are addicted, right? And that was also for me. But you need somebody around you who says stop. And I had some, injuries, fortunately, never be surgery for that. But I had some good stuff. So I want to thank Maat Gooseling. You don't know him? I know him very well. He was a very good guy who take care of me during some bad periods. And that is very important for coaches to have that also surrounded. So I want to mention that one. Yeah, and also, of course, well, my wife, Joop already told me that I met her when I was 16, so that's almost high school, right? And we're building a life around that, and that was great. And well, I'm standing now on a cloud, almostly, but she's the power girl who sets me right down on the ground. So we were, at that time, we were raw, right? And we're growing in the world of volleyball with the big, exciting adventures. Because, well, this is also my first time that I took a plane for the junior team to go to Munich to play in Six Nation tournament, whatever it was. And that was a big adventure. And I remember also a nice trip to Cuba. And that we spent a lot of time in Cuba at that time, and we became friends with Cuban guys. And one time I was invited on a dinner with them, and I brought his daughter, his little daughter, a present. So we were eating on a table, and he and his wife prepared everything, nice chicken and little Cuban bananas. I remember that, the little ones, the sweet ones. That was great. So I gave the daughter the present, and it was a pencil, was a color pencil, right, where you can take pictures and whatever it is, you can make paintings. And she grabbed it out my hands, and she opened it, and then she immediately broke it. I said, "What are you doing?" "Well, now my friend can also have a pencil." And that was the moment that I realized that not every circumstance is the same, especially where I came from, and also here in America, everything is wonderful. But there, you have to work very hard to be one of the top players, and getting travel and just spit it all out. And that was amazing to see. That was the experience, and also the inspiration for me to know that I have to, when I want to beat Cuba, I have to hit harder, just harder. So I made in the big adventure of making choices, getting also new responsibilities. When you are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, then suddenly, I don't know if you remember them, maybe Doc, you remember the chairman of the Dutch volleyball, Pieter Bruin. Unfortunately, he has passed away, but at that moment, we had a whole year program for the national team. And, well, Joop already mentioned it. Some guys will left the team and go for the money in Italy. And there were 4 guys who left the team. And that moment, I was in Japan, and he was also in Japan. And he invited me in his room. I was 20 years old. He said to me, "If you are quitting the team, just if you sign a contract, professional contract in Italy, then I will stop the all-year program for the national team." And I wasn't alone. I was 21 years old or something. And at that moment, I realized, holy moly, I'm certainly not only for myself, but also for the program and for the future. And I know that I want to be different. In everything I was different. But then you feel also the pressure. And that was great to do business with him, because it wasn't a contract. It was just man to man, and say, okay, I do it or I don't do it. And I did it. And I stayed there till 1992 when I signed a contract with Sisley Treviso. And that is what I learned, I think the most important lesson in my whole life, especially till today. That's say what you do and do what you say. And it's so easy, but so difficult to manage. And I don't need a contract. I just want your word and integrity to say, what do you want? And then I do it. So that was important for me. So after that comes all kind of commitments, failure, success, and to figure out what your role and task is, dealing with mental pressure in and outside the court. In other words, I was a street boy. I was born in Amsterdam, and I was just a local Amsterdam kid, and became a world player. And that's about also if you are playing, and most of it, well, all players knows that. You feel something, and sometimes you feel a giant on the court, right? You feel big, but at the same time you are very, very small and vulnerable, and very lonely. And that's what it interested in me. Finding that balance, that was a challenge, and it was a great challenge to find your own path, your own way, to do your own things, differently from what everybody thinks you will do it. And still it's not over yet. I'm still challenging me myself to having dreams like a human being, a father, or a coach. And even as a coach, and I will take this opportunity to thank Oregon State University to be present here, because, well, they have some games. So Mark, thanks, that was great. And also the athletic department of that. But working in different countries, in different continents, and with different habits, culture, rules, and find my own way to inspire kids and find their talent to making sport programs better. Because every kid has a talent, but you have to find out, and that's very interesting to see what kind of communications you need, and well, that's coaching, and I love that, and therefore I love the game because it's interactive. To guide them, talented boys and girls, there's not only one exclusive answer for them. Give them more than one inspirational suggestions, and listen carefully what they mean between the fine lines of the sentences. Observe them in how they communicate and behavioral styles in different environments. And yeah, that's what I love into giving my experience, what I experienced in my life, give them back to young kids. That's great. And I'm still learning also from this generation. It's not only the old way. It's a new generation, and it goes so quickly, and you can learn from it. And I'm still learning till today. And that's be proud of the sports organization, or this the national team of Dutch National Federation, or this Oregon State University, or wherever I'm working on. And then I will revote at the statement of being proud, because I will again thank you, my wife, Jackie, and thankful for allowing me to do what I want to do in the world of volleyball. And you sacrifice yourself a lot, I know that, and it isn't always easy for you. But, well, you know it, you are not married with a bookkeeper. I'm just a volleyball player still. I still tremendous appreciate that. Thanks, Jake. The last one I want to mention. Yep, I got it. Mention my two daughters. They are Demi and Nikita. They are now 21 and 18 years old. They couldn't hear because of the obligations of school, right? But they're building their own lives. And being their parents of our two kids, and what we learn in our lives in the international world of volleyball, by embracing life, sharing our knowledge, and keep on dreaming. It's important, just keep on dreaming. And the most of it, of that one, to give them the suggestion just say what you do and do what you say, in embracing life, sharing the knowledge, and keep on dreaming. It's so easy to say it, but so difficult to execute, day in, day out. But I love it, and I love it here, and I want to thank you for that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Congratulations to Ron. I had one of your fellow Pac-12 assistant coaches text me tonight, said not enough people in this country know who Ron Zwerver is. More should, and I hope the 18 to 22-year-olds that are playing currently at Oregon State understand who they have in their gym. Our final inductee for the evening is again involved in a small intersection for me in my volleyball journey at the very beginning. Anders went forward, I'm going backwards. In 1992, I moved to the beach. I moved to Redondo Beach with the idea of playing beach volleyball professionally, that obscure thing. I'd only been playing volleyball for a few months, but I thought I'm going to give this a shot. And in that time period, it was all about what beach you played at. Where did you play? Where could you get games in these cliquey environments? And you just sort of had to insert yourself in a place. And for youngsters like myself at 18, it was, who plays at your beach? Well, Jose Loyola played at his beach. I played at his beach, at Marine Street. And it was a lot of fun to watch that level right in front of me, right there to see it, to see where you needed to go. He was an example of where I and everyone else on that beach had to drive. Let's learn more about Jose Loyola.
Jose Loyola, Brazil, beach player. Beach volleyball is truly an international game. But up until the early 1990s, it was a very different story. The sport, particularly in the men's game, was dominated by Americans, almost all from California. The dominant tour in the world at the time, the AVP Tour, had not a single foreign-born player. So when a young Jose Loyola from the small Brazilian town of Vitória and his partner Eduardo Engenho Basil started entering AVP events in 1993, they were a real curiosity. Though the Brazilians were accomplished in their home country, Loyola was a junior national champion in Brazil and had competed in FIVB events, there was much skepticism on the AVP Tour about their prospects. It was impossible to be skeptical once one saw Loyola hit a volleyball. There have been many leapers in the history of professional beach volleyball, but perhaps no one has soared out of the sand higher and with more grace than Jose Loyola. With his whip of an arm, he could hit high and hard over the biggest blocks. With any skepticism snuffed out quickly, Loyola and Engenho had a tremendous rookie season, finishing in the top 5 in 11 events, including 4 second-place finishes. After his successful partnership with Engenho, Loyola partnered with Adam Johnson and then with Kent Steffes. Loyola won 11 tournaments with Johnson and 17 with Steffes, including 13 victories in 1997, one of the best seasons in AVP history. Loyola was voted the best offensive player in the AVP 4 times and was named the Tour MVP in 1997. Loyola backed up his athleticism with quintessential Brazilian enthusiasm and fire. As he grew more comfortable on the AVP Tour, he let his dynamic personality shine. Exhorting the crowd to cheer him on after a good play quickly made him a fan favorite. In the late 1990s, Loyola started focusing more on the growing international circuit. He won 20 times on the FIVB Tour, primarily partnering with 2016 International Volleyball Hall of Fame inductee Manuel Rigo, winning the FIVB Tour Championship in 1999 and representing Brazil in the Sydney Olympics. He and Rigo were named by the FIVB as one of the 2 best volleyball teams of the 1990s. While Loyola will always be a proud Brazilian, he has truly found a home in the beach cities of California. He passes on his love of volleyball through his club volleyball program and coaching with USA Volleyball youth travel teams and high-performance athletes. Loyola is currently the head coach for Sarah Hughes and Kelly Clays of the United States for 2020 Olympic beach volleyball qualification. He is as passionate about beach volleyball as a coach as he was as a player. And now, a generation of youth will look to José Loyola as their source of inspiration for playing beach volleyball. For his legendary career, we are proud to induct José Loyola into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame Class of 2017 as a beach player.
To officially put him in the hall with Jose is Karch Karai.
I'm thinking back in time. It is the first day of the first tournament of the first season that Jose Loyola and his partner Anginho came to play on our American Pro Beach Volleyball Tour. And we thought we had a lot of really good players. We did. Had many of the world's best players. But it's 8:30 in the morning, and there's a little bit of a commotion in the players' tent. One of the winningest team of all time, Randy Stoklos and Sinchen Smith, are raising a fuss about some things. If you know them, you'll know that that is not headline news. What was headline news was that it was this early in the morning. They wanted to be on center court. They weren't on center court. I got that one. Yep, they put on a great show. But they were also complaining about the team that they were about to play. And I didn't know anything about this team, and I'm thinking, come on, it's a first-round match. What do you guys have to be worried about here? And so the match starts. I'm sitting in the players' tent, and you can tell early on the first-round games, you can tell things are going smoothly for a top seed, or you can tell when things are not going so smoothly. And you hear sounds, you hear teammates imploring each other that you normally would hear on Sunday afternoon, not on Saturday at 9:15 a.m. And so then I look around, and the players' tent is empty. This never happens on Saturday morning. Everybody's finishing up their nutrition, they're stretching, they're getting ready. And I wonder where they all are. They're all out watching this game. So I figured, well, I got to go out there and check this out. And just as I walk into view, I see some guy, this guy, jump about 4 feet off the sand. I'd never seen anybody jump that high. And hit a ball down so hard, he just made one of the greatest blockers in the history of the game look like he wasn't even jumping. He was just standing there and made his block look invisible. So he crushes this ball. It's still in the air. He comes down and I won't translate that. In fact, I can't translate that here. But I'm like, so I'm thinking a few things. First of all, I'm thinking, what is going on here? Second, and who are these guys? Second, Sinch and Randy were right to complain. That was not an appropriate first-round draw. And third, I'm thinking, ooh, man, I don't think we want to face this team. They are gnarly. And they made a splash from that very first match all the way through that season, right to the end where we were playing another tournament in Daytona Beach, Florida. And it's incredibly hot, and it's near the end of 2 days of play. And the rest of us are trying to drag our way out onto the sand for the last match. And I see this guy spring out onto the sand, and I just hear him say, "I like hot. I like hot." And he did. He came from Brazil. He was really gnarly in any conditions, but especially when it was hot. And it was an auspicious start, and certainly a great indication of greatness to come. And what Jose really did was he raised the bar and we thought we had a high bar on our tour, but he raised the bar and he raised the level of beach volleyball in our country and all around the world. and made us all better. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful to be a part of a tour where these were many of the best who ever played the game. So along with his passion, which attracted a lot of people out there, understandably, he was really fun to watch. And that, too, was a great facet of his game, is attracting attention. We want to grow this sport. And he did it in a wonderful way. It was never mean. He always had a smile, got along with everybody, a good man and a good husband and a good father and an unbelievable player. And so I'm thrilled to introduce the last inductee of 2017. Congratulations to all the other winners, but congratulations, Jose. Nicely done.
Well, let me, first of all, catch my breath here, you know, because it's a double fist for me here, being honored by the Hall of Fame and have Karch Kurai, my idol, open up the speech here for me. I mean, it's such a great opportunity, and I'm so glad that I'm happy that with these words, you know, it's so kind, and it's just a great experience, you know. But, well, first of all, I would like to thank you, the International Volleyball Hall of Fame, you know, the city of Holyoke, that to host us. It's such an honor to be recognized for the sports that we all love so much. And also, I would like to thank you, the friends and family that came here, my family that's the biggest support of my career, the Hughes family that came from Franklin, the Sharon and Larry that came from South Florida, obviously my wife, that's been the biggest support of all my life, you know, that made things a lot easier for me. She's always there. She's always, like, at home when I was traveling, and make sure that everything is home, it's smooth. And my kids, you know, I played in one Olympics, you know, but I feel like I have 4 gold medals, you know. Those are my kids. And that's really important to point that out, because sometimes you don't say these things very often. But when you're here, you want to emphasize those things. You know, I think that's very important time for me to realize that how important it is. My family, it's the biggest supporter for me of all. So, you know, I never imagined being here today, especially come from Brazil. I'm coming from a small town outside of Rio de Janeiro, Vitória, and where that. When I started playing, I was probably the first athlete in beach volleyball, you know. I mean, I'm here, guys are all talking about teams indoor, and I'm probably the only beach volleyball bump here, you know, and getting docked, you know, and a lot of criticisms, you know. A lot of people say, oh, you're not going to go anywhere, you know, you better off stay here. I said, why? You know, I mean, I think I can do this, you know. I think volleyball is my passion, you know. I can pursued, I can challenge, you know. I'm not gonna sit here and hear all these people tell me that I can do or cannot do, you know. I mean, I was probably the first one that volleyball player on the beach to have a tattoo, and it was, you know, it's like sometimes you come across in a different way, but I love the game too much, you know. I didn't let anyone to interrupt my dream, and I pursued, and here I am, you know, and being docked with such a great honor, like I said again. And anyways, when I first arrived here, though, I didn't think, you know, it's just coming here, it's an honor, it's another word, you know, ceremony you're going through. But I didn't realize how big this thing is, you know, until you start walking to the Hall of Fame and the museum, and you come in here, you see all these great athletes, you know, all these phenomenal volleyball players, all the old players that mainly the reason why we're all here, because we come after all these great players that come before us, you know. I think that's very important, that a lot of you guys mentioned there, how important it is to have idols like. And for me, when I saw Karch walking up in the stage and open up his speech, I said, oh my God, this is not, you know, that's not real, you know. It's but it's really happened, you know. And I wrote like a 10 pages essay here, but I compressed into a half a page, because I I wanted to be quick, and I also wanted you guys to have a great time too, you know, and I don't want to prolong this speech for the rest of the night, but it's nice to be able to speak and, like I said, recognize my family, and I'm just going to say, you know, volleyball, it's always been a passion for me. When I stopped playing in 2009, 2008, I can't remember that anymore, and I was like, say, you know what, I'm going to walk away from this sport. I'm going to I want to become a fireman because that's a passion. I wanted to be able to come and save lives. And I went through the whole process. I did my EMT test. And then I went to the fire academy. And unfortunately, I had a bad injury from volleyball, obviously, my hips. And then I couldn't finish the class, you know. It was too much. It was too hard of work, the running and up and down the stairs with ladders and hoses and all the things. It was really heavy, and my hip went down. So after my hip went down, I said, oh, my God, what am I going to do in my life? And but somehow volleyball, it's always been in my life. Maybe there was a sign because it kept sucking me into the volleyball world. So after that, obviously, I started coaching, like everybody else here probably, you know, as a player. And then I started coaching with USA Volleyball. I started coaching the youth program. And all of a sudden I say, you know what, I like this. You know, I don't know why I decided to be a fireman. Because volleyball, it's always been my passion, you know. And hearing all you guys are talking about here, about this tremendous sports, and I think one thing that we all in this room here have in common, it's a passion. And a passion for one thing and one thing only. It's volleyball. You know, without volleyball, I guarantee you I wouldn't have my family that I have today. I wouldn't be here standing and speak for all of you guys. And I wouldn't have the friends and players that surround us, that make all, like Karch said. I mean, players that make you better, you know. And I like to say thank you all the players, all my partners throughout my career. I like to say thank you for all the players that play against me, that raise the bar, like Karch said, elevate the level of the game. And it's such a great honor. It's really hard to describe, you know, when you're standing up here and you speak all in front of you guys, and then it's just dumping all the emotions, you know. Family and stuff, my mom in Brazil, all my friends back in Brazil that really appreciate all the people that worked with me in the past. And it's just such a great thing, you know, and be able to stand here now and be recognized and knowing that your name is going to go through for 1,000 years. People are going to remember what you did, and you created such an impact in the game. I think that's a great honor. I mean, it's like somebody else said here before, you start walking in the Hall of Fame and you see all these names, all these accomplishments, all these great people that came before you, and now you're, wow, I'm part of this. How good that is, you know. It's something that's, it's almost like it's hard to explain with words, you know. But being here, I think that says it all. I think that tells like how much passion, how much I love the game. And obviously, like the journey is not of end. I consider myself as being a young coach. I've been coaching for about 8-9 years, not have the same success of a lot of you guys already had. But, you know, life goes on, and that's the goal. The goal is to continue to pass along the passion and give back everything that I've earned, everything that I've learned back to volleyball. With that being said, I think that's a big part of my speech, you know, to be here and being recognized as something that's not a job for me. It's a passion, and that I love what I do. So thank you very much for all of you guys and my family. Appreciate all.
Congratulations, Jose. Just to be clear, when I was hanging out on his beach, I didn't get any games with Jose. I played with Bobby and Jimmy Blackburn and Sterling, all the old guys. If we could get all the inductees to come up with their plaques up to the stage, please. I want to take a moment while they're doing that to thank George Mulray for having me back to the Volleyball Hall of Fame. It's my pleasure to be here to see all of you, to spend the weekend with everyone, to spend the weekend with the inductees, as well as the past inductees and famous people from the world of volleyball to whom I really enjoy sincerely talking about the sport, the history of the game, and the future of the game. Thanks also to Tony Lovett for letting me replace him for a year. I'm sure he's impersonating Steven Spielberg somewhere tonight. With that, I'll give it back to Steve.
I have 3 assignments before we wrap up tonight. One will be to, first and foremost, thank our Master of Ceremonies tonight. If you will please give a warm round of applause to Kevin Barnett. One additional thank you and bit of recognition for what we have defined as the hardest working executive director in the sports world. He's become a great friend and an advocate for this sport. He works hard, many, many hours. So please, if you would, show your appreciation for George Mulray, our executive director. So this is the moment where I get to read the proclamation that makes this really official. So if everyone will please stand. By the authority entrusted to me by the Board of Directors of the International Volleyball Hall of Fame and the vote of the International Selection Committee, I hereby induct the class of 2017 into the International Volleyball Hall of Fame on this day, November 18, 2017. Your class. In just a moment, we'll invite you up to take pictures, get autographs, but there's a very important one final thing I have to do, and that is to decide who gets the volleyball on your table. So we're going to make this interactive before you come up for photos. The person who has the birthday closest to today, or anniversary, birthday or anniversary, will be flexible there. The volleyball will be yours. So thank you all for coming and celebrating this very special night with us. We wish you safe travels, and once again, congratulations to our inductees and to our Mentionette Medallion Award winner. Good night.